When you are a woman that is bringing in 8K to 10K a month, you do not give a flying fuck what anybody else has to say about your niche, about things in the online space. Whatever it is that you decide that your beliefs are true and right. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, queens. Happy September, and welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. And this episode and the rest of September's episodes are very, very special because we are doing the Fraud to Five Figure series. And this series is going to help you go from feeling like a fraud at this level of your business, whether that is dealing with clients and wanting to be able to get them better results, whether that's starting to realize that you're getting more visible and bigger and making more money, and you're thinking like, okay, how can I make more money? But also like, I'm really afraid of the visibility. People are going to see me for who I am. So all of these things are coming up, right? And we are going to talk about them in this series, the Fraud to Five Figure series. And these are also things that we talk about inside of the Fraud Squad Mastermind, which is my mastermind for coaches and online service providers to help you unfilter yourselves in your content, get massively visible, and become influential in your niche and make 10K a month, right? Like that is the goal. Usually the coaches and the online service providers that come into this container are making between like 3K to 5K a month, and they really want to start stepping into those 8K to 10K months and start to create more offers and have those open channels for people to come in. And with all of that comes imposter syndrome. It comes self-sabotage because you're getting bigger. It comes with taking more risks, especially because when you first start your business, you're so naive, you don't know what you're in store for. And I think that there's this like shift that happens when you really start making more money, and it just becomes like a normal part of your business, and you realize like, oh, like if I'm going to be bigger, like I need to make a shift. And that usually doesn't have a lot to do with your actual offers. Like usually it's just some tweaking and refinement, some cleaning up of your messaging, etc. But then it comes to the mindset and belief piece, and really believing that you can be somebody that can make 8K to 10K a month consistently. So the Fraud to Five Figure series is to support you in creating those 8K to 10K months. And when you are ready to come in and work with me in the Fraud Squad Mastermind, then we are going to make those 8K to 10K months happen for you. And we are so excited to welcome you in. And if you join in the month of September, you will get $222 off of your first payment. The mastermind includes hot seat coaching calls 2 times a month, as well as the Fraud Squad curriculum, 3 courses, the content course, the sales courses, and my launch course, access to the mastermind Voxer chat, as well as access to monthly client events such as content parties and breathwork sessions. So we can work together in the Fraud Squad Mastermind for just $4K for 4 months, pay in full, or you can pay $1,111 for 4 monthly payments, or an extended payment plan of $888 for 5 monthly payments. I am so ready to get into this episode and get into this series. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. Big fucking deal energy, and being the leader that everybody wants to pay means that you know that everything comes from inside of you. When you are not in your power, what that means to me is that you are believing that things are happening outside of your control, and that you only have so much control over the results that you're getting. And I've completely been here before. There have been many a time where I have given up my power to my audience size. I've given up my power to coaches that I've worked with. I've given up my power to even the clients that I've worked with, right? Like believing that the current people that I was coaching and feeling like I was having a hard time coaching them, I wouldn't allow myself to think bigger beyond these clients, right? I've given up my power to the engagement that my posts were getting, right? This is something that happens naturally to the kind of person who is very caught up in what's happening in front of them. And I have found, and I'm going to try to explain this in a way that you can understand. But like, I have found that being an online coach and growing your business is not only keeping the blinders on to everyone in the industry, but also like keeping the blinders on and protecting your energy and knowing that like just because something is going on in your business or something is happening, you have to be able to see beyond that to get to your next level, right? So for example, something that I often think about is how clients come to me and are like, how do I get my clients like better results, and how can I like get to that next level if they're currently like not getting the results that I think I need? And the answer is always like, first of all, you need to blow up their fucking current results. Like, how are you not seeing their current results as good enough, as amazing? Where are you not seeing your own progress and what you've done as fucking amazing, and also blowing that up and like being able to see past your current circumstance? Like, that is something that is like a really not talked about skill. Like, people don't talk about this in terms of really seeing past what is happening in your current fucking reality and actually working towards the reality you're looking to create over and over and over again, even when things feel quiet or stagnant or what the fuck ever in your current reality. And this can really happen to people that are very, very logical, like myself. Like, I remember coming into the online space, and even though I was a mindset coach, I definitely believed that there was more value and possibility with like strategy and what was currently going on. And I was like, I don't believe in fucking manifestation or any of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And I could see how that attitude really affected the way that I showed up, and I didn't sign clients for a very long time. And if I did, it was super sporadic, and I didn't create any consistent income until I really got behind the work that I was doing and realized how fucking powerful it was, and like learned to look outside of where I currently was, even where my clients currently were, and looking beyond that and realizing I have the power to create anything that I desire. I am not fucking special, right? I am not special, and neither are you. And I'm going into that piece too here where like I really had to see the power in the work that I was doing. I was not too good to do the mindset work, to do the healing work, to do the belief work. And once I started to really lean into that stuff, because I've also coached clients who have come into the space that I coach in, and they're like, I'm good on the mindset stuff, you know, and I just need the strategy. And it's not about you being good on the mindset front. It's realizing that you're always evolving, like you're always growing. And why wouldn't you want to be on top of your game, right? Like, I never say that because I know that there's always something I can work on. There's always something that I can become awake to. And there's always something that I can realize is holding me back mentally, because that is what it means to be the operant power. And when I talk about being the operant power, this is usually talked about in manifestation spaces in terms of the belief that you are the one that is control of your results, that you are the universe in human form, and you are just reflecting in your life. Your results are just reflecting who you believe you are and what you believe back to you. And this is the same approach that I take when it comes to my business, and it has never steered me wrong. And running my business, operating inside of the business, like, I know that I'm the operant power. So everything that happens is a result of something that I am doing, or something that I am thinking, or the way that I am being. And this is not over responsibility, right? Like, this is realizing that there really is no other way to run your business and be successful until you decide there is nothing outside of me that is more important than the things that I believe and the things that I know. Your belief and your responsibility of your results and what you're creating is fucking everything, because it creates your thoughts, which create your actions, which create your emotions, which creates your reality. And then you take actions from that place of your thoughts, from that place of how you're feeling, and it creates the results that you want or do not want. And when you're making 10K plus a month, there is no other way to be than like this. And I think I talked about this in last week's episode, I believe, where like there is no other way to be. When you're making 10K plus a month, like you fully believe that you are in your power and you are in control, and it doesn't matter how big your audience is. None of that shit fucking matters. You know, if I want something, I have to go out and fucking get it. Right? And that is when it happens. That is when you're able to go out and get it, because you know that you are the person that creates everything that you want. And you will see this across the board when it comes to every coach or mentor or online service provider that is making 10K plus a month. They don't believe that their solutions are outside of them. They don't believe that they need something to happen for them to have the results that they want. They believe that they can control it. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. And I forgot if I talked about this last week. But it's very easy to be in the victim mode. It is very easy to be like, well, I can't control that only 10 people watch Instagram stories that I put up. Of course you can't. But what you can keep doing is you can keep showing up and selling powerfully, and your audience is gonna fucking grow. What can you control? And let's start there. Somebody that is making 10K plus a month, like they realize that they are their source of their problems, but they also are the source of their solutions. And when you believe that there is something outside of you that is the problem, you don't seek a solution, and you can unknowingly sometimes put yourself into victim mode. And this is not because you have a complex around being a victim. This is not because you actually are going around saying, I feel so bad for myself, blah, 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 blah. But unconsciously, you can be running a monologue in the back of your brain, being like, things don't usually work out for me. I can't control my audience size or this aspect of my business. It's out of my hands. But the only thing that we can't control is somebody else's reaction to us. And the amazing thing about running your business is the fact that you are the person that gets to decide how you run everything. You get to decide how you show up, how you sell, how your brand is represented. You get to decide how you coach your clients. You get to decide your work hours. There are so many things inside of your business that you get to decide on. And when you come at it from that place in terms of I'm the operant power, I'm the universe in human form, everything is just me pushed out, you become so fucking magnetic, so fucking powerful, and nothing can really affect you. And I think that this also really increases your emotional resilience when it comes to having a business, because you seek solutions and you're just more willing to take action when you firmly believe, like, I am the source of the results that I'm getting. And if you're not getting the results that you want, you know, if you're sitting between that 3K to 5K mark, then it does you no service to believe that somebody else is the reason for that, or something else is the reason for that. Like, I don't have a big enough audience, I don't have this, I don't have that. Then fucking build it. Then do the things that you need to do to get yourself to this place, right? Like, there's a very big coach in the online space, and she says on this reel she created, she was like, somebody was saying to her, like, but you have a hot audience. And she's like, yeah, because I built it. And I know that she did. And there is just no other option when you decide that you are the operant power. And like I said, it is so powerful. It is so magnetic when you decide that as a leader, that everything is just you pushed out and everything is in your control. And you can tell yourself, but that's not actually how the world works. You can tell yourself, like, no, it's true. There are things that are in my way or out of my control, especially in business, blah, blah, blah. And okay, great. But when you're a leader, when you're somebody that people want to pay, right? When you have thoughts that are so important to somebody, like, think about your thoughts as if you're depositing them into a bank account. And like, are you actually depositing? Are you actually filling up that bank account with the thoughts that you're thinking? Or are you withdrawing? Are you depreciating that bank account with your shitty ass thoughts that don't put you in your power? And the reason why I say this is because whether you believe it's true or not, is it helpful? And I ask clients this all the time. And I think that this can get confusing for somebody who is very logical and somebody who potentially thinks in like black or white thinking, because as somebody who has ADHD, I would do this all the time, and I didn't realize that I was thinking in such crazy extremes all the time. But I learned how to ask myself, but is this helpful? Even if it's fucking true that I have 10 people watching Instagram stories, even if my engagement is shit, right? Is it helpful for me to think that? And basically, when I say, like, Is it helpful? How does it feel? And is it actually causing me to take action, or is it causing me to play small, to pull back, to not show up, right? So instead of asking yourself, is this thought true? Ask, is it helpful? It does not hurt you to think that you are a bad bitch, right? Like, are your thoughts helping you step into your most confident self? That is what I fucking care about. Just because your logical brain or your ADHD brain, just because like the world is so negative and people want to argue with you in terms of like the way that things are, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you're an online business owner. You are the universe in human form, and the reality that you tell yourself you're in is the one that you get to be in, is the one that you get to create. Your beliefs create your reality. And when you are negative, when you're down on yourself, this is not helping you work towards growing your business or to take the action needed to grow your business. Why do we even need those thoughts in the first place? Why is it helpful for you to think to yourself, I don't have a big audience? Why is it helpful for you to think, but nobody watches my Instagram stories? Like, there are so many people, myself included, that have built their following, their business from zero. As well, there were tons of times when I was talking to absolutely nobody. Like, I was talking to like a neighbor or my grandma on fucking Instagram stories, right? So you're not special just because you are currently at zero or you've started from zero and you're growing. You're not special, and this is a great thing because you are somebody that can create results for herself just like everybody else in this industry. Like, I used to be that person a very long time ago when I was like really struggling, especially with my money mindset. I would go to coaching calls and be like, I need to make money. And that wasn't helpful. It was not helpful because I was taking a problem that was actually a life problem and making it a business problem, right? And like, we can go on and on about that, but essentially your attitude is really important, and how you think about yourself is so important, and you are the source of that magnetism and that powerful feeling, that powerful frequency inside of you. And once you let that bitch free, your brand is going to be so fucking magnetic. And when you truly believe that you're the operant power, you move like a big fucking deal, right? You truly believe like, I am a big deal and this business is a big deal. Even if I'm not seeing the 3D results of that yet, I'm creating it right now. And this is the other piece as well in terms of when you run a business. Are you doing things that a business owner is doing, right? Before I was even making any money, I sat down a couple times in the evening after work. And for those of you who aren't familiar with my story or how I got started, I used to work full-time for the government. I got my bachelor's degree and then I got my master's degree. And then I started working for the government in my hometown. I had the full-time job, I had the pension, I had the benefits. I was climbing the ladder. I was really good at my job because I'm a smart bitch. And there were tons of opportunities to grow inside of this organization. And I just started to start a coaching business because that was my degrees. Like, I really wanted to be in the helping profession, but I also wanted to make a lot of fucking money. Okay. So I worked at my full-time job, and I worked in my full-time job and ran the business up until spring 2021. So I did that from 2018 all the way to spring 2021, working full-time during the pandemic, all of that good stuff, right? So I left my full-time job in spring of 2021, but rewind, okay? In 2019, it was a year after I had started my business. I was still working full-time, and I hadn't really made like a lot of money at all at this point. I think I made like maybe like $500 to $1,000 in 2018, like something like that. And I decided to come home one day and do my taxes in 2019 when I really hadn't made a ton of money, but I had. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm going to do my taxes. And it was a lot of work because I had to get QuickBooks. I had to figure out like how the taxes worked in my province with owning a business. I had to organize all my receipts that I had to go all the way back to the beginning of 2018. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had to learn all of these things about what the fuck to do, especially like I still don't know like everything that has to do with taxes and owning a business and all of these things, right? But like, I had no reason to do all of these things. Like, I wasn't even like big enough to really claim this as legitimate income, but I knew that I needed to do that and get organized now to see myself as a legitimate business, right? Like this is one of the pieces that I knew I had to do. And that was me sitting down and organizing my like couple of receipts. And when you are at a place of 8K to 10K a month, like this is just normal fucking shit. You sit down and you do the business things without fail. And that includes being organized. That includes doing the things you need to do, even if you don't love it. Like there are so many things that I do in the business that I don't really love, right? That like I just wish I could just coach clients and that's it. But there's a lot of admin and there's a lot of tax stuff. There's a lot of stuff with money. And even though I don't enjoy a lot of these things that come with having a business, I know that there are things that you have to do. Unless you have a whole ass team, which actually though, I really am somebody who believes like you should learn how to do a lot of things in your business before you hire somebody, because like you don't want to just hire somebody because you don't want to have to deal with it. Like you should know the general sense of the majority of what's going on in the business and then have people to help you, right? Have experts to help you, but you should still know what things are going on. And, you know, like this is something that really shifted things for me in 2019. It shifted things energetically in a big way because I started making decisions like a business owner, right? And every time I've created curriculum or done my Instagram post a couple weeks in advance, like anytime I've done these things, like I feel so good about the fact that I believe that this is a legitimate business. Like I would sit at my computer at work and I would get all my work done and then I would do like content for like a month in advance. And I just loved like having a side business aside from my full-time job, and it felt like a legitimate business. Even though I was just posting Instagram posts, like that's how I got started, was really talking to myself and treating my business like an actual big fucking deal, right? And here's the thing, like you can tell yourself, I'm going to feel this way after I make 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000. But the online space is weird as fuck. And it doesn't really like start to sink in until you're hitting about like 5K to 10K a month and it's starting to be consistent. Like that's actually like kind of when it starts happening, is when your income starts to be consistent and you realize like, oh, this is a real thing. And even then, there were times where I was making like 10K, 15K, and I was like, holy shit, when is this gonna run out? Like, this is crazy, right? And that is another thing that helps you step into that big fucking deal energy when you decide that you are a legitimate business operation, right? And acting like that, doing like cleaning up these leaky fucking things that are happening inside of the business that are just like not being organized or tended to, and it's because you secretly aren't seeing yourself as a big deal. You're not seeing your business as a big deal, and like leaving things to the wayside, you not doing content in advance, right? Like these are examples. And of course, if you're somebody that does content on the day of and that works for you and you're organized with everything and all that stuff, that is not the point. You see the point that like how you treat your business, how you make time for your business, the things that you prioritize, that is affecting your psyche when it comes to your business, and something that really affects how you see yourself as a big fucking deal, as a leader. And you run a business that serves people, not just a fucking Instagram page where you post content, and you need to feel like that to even dream about getting to those 8K to 10K months. Because being a leader that everybody wants to pay, that does start with being a big fucking deal, and being a leader that everybody wants to pay is realizing that you are a big fucking deal just as you are, and you get to represent yourself that way now, right? Like this is something that I feel really passionate talking about, because when I first started my business, I would look at all these people who were showing up online and sharing their story and selling their offers, and I was so judgmental. I was thinking to myself, who the fuck do these people think they are, like sharing their story, thinking that anybody cares? Like, isn't that terrible? But it's just because of the way that I viewed myself, right? Like, so for those of you who don't know, I have a speech impediment. So I have a stuttering disability, and I've stuttered my entire life, and it still very well affects me every single day. It affects everything that I do, including coaching. And it's so funny because when I started the business, I was like, oh, I'll just be able to hide behind a screen. It's going to be so easy. But you're literally public speaking constantly when you have a business. So I didn't anticipate that. But anyways, because I have a stutter, I really learned as a kid that I should just shut the fuck up. And it's really funny because I was not a kid that shut the fuck up. Like, I was that kid that was always trying to get my parents' attention. I was that kid that was like chatting to her friends and had to be moved. I was always trying to like get attention and grab the camera and be like, look at me, right? But as I got older and as my stutter continued to be a thing, I began to become aware of the way that people were reacting to me. I got made fun of. I had adults completely dismiss me and ignore me because I was like trying to get out a word and I couldn't get it out. So there have been a lot of painful experiences as a kid and as an adult that I began to clock. Like, oh, like when I stutter, people don't want to listen to me. When I stutter, people want me to hurry up. When I stutter, people are uncomfortable, right? So as I got older, I become more and more introverted, especially around new people. And I think that there is one good side of this, and I've actually become a really, really strong reader. I always have been, and a really strong writer as well. As you guys know, I wrote the book You're Not Special, which is my book on overcoming imposter syndrome and stepping into your worthiness. You can get it on Amazon. So I always used to write stories. I always used to journal. I always used to like go in when it came to words on the page. But I realized that it was a result of me going inwards because I knew that the way that I was existing was uncomfortable to other people. So I just chose to withdraw. I would anticipate when somebody would feel uncomfortable, and I would really learn to watch for somebody's reaction to me when I was having a hard time getting a word out or introducing myself, whatever it is, right? And as kids, like, we're just sponges. Like, we absorb every experience because we need to create meaning about the world. And it's our first time here, so we need to figure out how to act and how to be accepted, right? How to belong. And essentially, what I'm saying here is that I learned to be quiet. I learned to not say what I'm thinking. I learned to not raise my hand in class because even though I always knew the answer when it came to things, except for math, there were a ton of times where I just didn't say anything because I didn't think that I was allowed. I didn't want to make anybody else uncomfortable or make other people have to wait for me. And yeah, I just didn't want to take up space. And there's a little bit of inequity here as well when I talk about this because I have a South Asian background because my granddad is from India. He's East Indian. And a lot of the rhetoric around that was like, oh, you talk too much, you're too crass, you always speak out, you're always talking back, blah, 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 around being a girl, right? Like, you need to be a good little girl. So there was this idea that as a girl, I should be seen and not heard. I should be quiet. I shouldn't rock the boat, etc. And it's so interesting how these things come up in our business because when I started showing up, I started thinking like, who's going to care about the story that I have to say? Like, who's going to care about me and what I have to say? And I shouldn't be taking up space. And these interpretations that I had around my speech and around just being a girl in the world, like being too loud, being too much, taking up too much space, when all of this is exactly what's fucking required of you in the online space. You have to take up space. You have to share your stories. You have to share what you have to say. And that is why you will see really successful coaches in their masculine energy because we have this idea through society that in order to be taken seriously, you need to be loud and you need to take up space, but you can also be incredibly soft and still take up space. And you have to allow yourself to do that. And I think that this is something that has really been something that I've had to unlearn and that I've had to unlearn for so long because of everything that I was taught and everything that I interpreted as I got older, right? And I had to learn how to take up space and brag about myself and learn how to be okay with being perceived and being seen. And it's the complete opposite to how you need to be in the online space. Like, you need to take up space with your ideas, with your thoughts, your stories, what you believe, what you think. And I wanted to share that story about my stutter and my childhood because I want you to think about how you have watered yourself down, how you have muted yourself, even if you've been creating consistent income and you're just looking to increase that income. Like, it requires a different level of visibility. It requires you to be even more sure of yourself, even more loud, even more willing to take up space and talk about your accomplishments and talk about your clients' accomplishments. And there is just a different level of taking up space when you're getting into those 5-figure months. And this is all what's required of you to be somebody that other people want to pay. And also, let me just say, I did say you need to be louder, but that doesn't mean that like you have to be this loud, masculine kind of energy. Like, you can be soft and still take up lots of space with your voice, with your stories, and who you are. So I just want to say that as well. But yes, this is what's required of you to be somebody that other people want to pay. There are so many people who just come to work with me simply because I show up and sell every single day, because I'm sharing stories, because I'm sharing value, because I'm relentless in the way that I take up space and in the way that I sell. I'm unapologetic about all of this as well. And that is just something that needs to be in your vocabulary, right? It needs to be a part of you as a business owner, unapologetic about who the fuck you are and taking up space. And like I said, you don't need to be crass and loud. You don't need to swear at all. I have tons of clients that don't swear. Personally, I fucking love it, but that is just me and my brand, right? But what I'm saying here is that you can be whoever you are, but you still need to learn how to take up space. You still need to share your opinion and your stories and share it proudly and be who you're meant to be in the space, because there are people who are looking to you as a leader. And when you're stepping into that 5-figure frequency and looking to create that kind of income consistently, you will not see one person who is doing that, who is not sharing their stories and sharing their voice often, who is not taking up space with their results, with their client results, who is just motherfucking taking up space. Okay? And the last thing that I want to leave you with today is the fact that when you are a woman that is bringing in $8K to $10K a month, you do not give a flying fuck what anybody else has to say about your niche, about things in the online space. Whatever it is that you decide that your beliefs are true and right. Okay? So let me explain. When I was first growing my business, it was very common of me to hire a coach or start working with a mentor, and I would adopt the things that they were saying and truly believe that what they were saying was the correct thing. And it would cause a lot of conflict for me, because in my actual coaching, if I was experiencing things that were the opposite of what I knew that my coaches or mentors thought, I would be like, there is a right way to do it. Like, there is a right way and I'm saying it wrong, or I think this is wrong. And like, this is the right way to do the mindset work. This is the right way to do the somatic work. All of these things, right? Like, very black or white thinking. And it completely rids you of your autonomy in the online space and completely takes away who you are as a coach or a service provider. I now feel so much peace and ease consuming any content from anybody at all, because I know that their truth and the truth that I have gets to exist at the same time. For example, I recently joined a program about content, and some of the things that this coach was talking about, I just didn't agree with. And her beliefs about content and showing up didn't 100% align with the way that I thought about it. And that was perfectly fine. I did not doubt myself. I did not think like, oh, because this coach makes more than me, she is more correct than me, because there gets to be nuance and there gets to be more than one truth when it comes to something as diverse as content or the internet and relationships and trends, all of these things that are going on. Now, this isn't to say that when you have your own thoughts and beliefs, you don't need to be wishy-washy about them. You don't need to placate somebody else in your content. You can have a thought and a belief, and you don't need to say at the beginning and the end, but what you think is right and what I think is right, blah, 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 blah. I am saying internally, I know that if I see somebody's opinion, it does not trigger me. It does not cause me to start spiraling, whatever it is, because I know that their truth can exist, but this is what I think and what I believe. And I get to call in the people who either already think that or want to think how I think, right? You have to be able to stand true in what you believe, and you're also allowed to evolve. So don't think that something you say today, you're going to be held to that same standard in like 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. Like, of course, you're going to learn new things. You're allowed to change your stance on things. It's perfectly okay and perfectly allowed. But a leader who is paid well, somebody who is seen as a big fucking deal, somebody who views themselves as a big fucking deal, is not looking at what everybody else is doing and is not taking what somebody else says. And just because that person makes more than them or is seemingly more established than them, they don't make it mean that their own opinion is wrong, because that will take you down a path of always questioning yourself. And you will actually take less action, be more hesitant in your own content and in your own brand, and you will not show up with that power that you know you need, because you're going to be constantly thinking about the people that don't agree with you. And I talk about this in my content course, Unfiltered and Filthy Rich. One of the content types is called influential content, and in influential content, the whole point of that content type is to create content that showcases your values, your beliefs, and your opinions. And this content is created with only two people in mind, and that is the person who is already in agreement with the things that you think and know, or the person who is looking to change their beliefs, the person who is looking to change what they think and believe because they see you as a leader and they're like, oh my God, that thought, that belief resonates with me. And these are the only two people that you need to give a fuck about, because when you start sharing your opinions and your beliefs, whether it's about content or about politics, relationships, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Your beliefs and what you think are good enough, and you can share them. And if you have created a story that you aren't ever right and you don't know enough, and that you're always kind of like riding the fence when it comes to opinions, like, this could be a source of people pleasing. It could be you unconsciously seeking validation from your clients or from your potential clients. It could be from childhood or when you were growing up and you were constantly told you were wrong and that your opinions were wrong and you really had to prove yourself, right? Like, it's taken me time to get here because I would constantly think like, I don't want someone to call me out if I'm wrong. So I only spoke when I really believed 100% that I was in the right. And it was because somebody else said it. So I thought, oh, I can say that now too, right? Like, catch this if it comes up for you, because this means you're people pleasing. It means that you are not actually thinking your own fucking thoughts. You are allowed to have your thoughts and beliefs, and you are allowed to share them confidently. Because especially when it comes to like 99% of like niches and like different kinds of content that people are creating, the online space, there is rarely ever an ultimate truth, right? Like, there is your truth, there's the truth that somebody else has, there's the truth that your potential clients want to adopt, and you also get to change your mind, and so do your potential clients. Like, there are so many things that I used to think that I don't anymore, right? Because I have experience. I have more experience now, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't allowed to share how I felt and believed in that moment, right? And at the end of the day, like, you're doing the best you can with the information that you have. And you are a powerful leader, you're a smart woman, and the people that are going to resonate with you are the people that are going to want to learn from you and are going to hopefully realize that just because I say it, it doesn't mean it's the ultimate truth. Like, you get to decide that for yourself as well. And again, like, the person that is bringing in 8K to 10K a month, she's not looking at what somebody is saying and thinking that it's the ultimate truth. Like, she's smarter than that, right? It's just fucking words on a canvas slide. You are allowed to take up space in the online space with your opinions, your beliefs, and what feels true to you today. That is the only way that you're going to stack your income, is if you have the courage to show the fuck up every single day, share your truth, share your story, take up space with who you are right now. And that is the energy of somebody who knows that she's a big fucking deal. That is the energy of somebody who knows that people always want to pay her. Okay, damn, this has been an episode. We are kicking off the Fraud to 5-Figure series so well. I'm so happy that you're here with me in September doing this series. And let me remind you that the Fraud to 5-Figure series is to help you decide if the Fraud Squad Mastermind is your next investment into your business. The Fraud Squad Mastermind is for coaches and online service providers to help you unfilter yourself and your content, get massively visible, and become influential in your niche and create and normalize 10K plus months. This is an intimate mastermind. I am the only coach inside of the mastermind, and you will work with me closely with my eyes specifically on your content and your messaging and your offers to help you create 10K plus months your way. And the mastermind is the best fit for you if you're bringing in between 3K to 5K a month and you are ready to step into 8K to 10K a month in your online business. When you join for 4 months, where you'll get hot seat coaching calls 2 times a month, access to the mastermind Voxer chat, the Fraud Squad curriculum, as well as access to my 3 courses on content, sales, and launching, and the client events, of course, that I run each and every month that include client content parties and breathwork sessions. You can join for 4 months for $4K pay in full, or $1,111 for 4 monthly payments, or an extended payment plan of $888 a month for 5 months. I'm so excited to continue this series, the Fraud to 5-Figure series. And next week, we're going to talk about secrets to getting paid when you post and being fully unfiltered in your content. So you know it's going to be a sexy episode. I love you guys so much. I will see you then. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.